What's up everybody, Kyle, TTO Parts here. Hey, we've got something a little bit different. Videojet 6210 printer. So this is the smaller one, 32 millimeter printer. It's the old style, so it's still driven by air. We got a few of them in the shop today, so let's get after it. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna power this touchscreen on. And I wanna do that just because before I get it up on the stand, I wanna make sure there's nothing wrong with the board or anything like that. So I have powered them on. And I'm getting a few things. So I'm getting cassette open. Obviously that makes sense. I don't have the cassette on. I'm getting printhead temperature sensor failure. That makes sense as well because there's no printhead on this unit. Printhead carriage position error. Now that one is a little interesting and I'm gonna redo this so you can see it. And I got a backup battery flat error. That one's no big deal. Usually it's not a symptom of a bad board. Usually just the little coin cell batteries on these things need to be replaced. So turn it off. I'm gonna turn it back on. Now what should happen is our carriage should try to go to the home position. Now, maybe this is a different model I'm not used to as much, so maybe because the printhead's not on there, it's not gonna go home. But I know the other ones don't do that. The 6420s don't. So we'll go back in here. I still got them. Printhead carriage failed to return to its correct position. So the correct position would be triggering this limit switch. So what we could do is I could manually trigger that and then go ahead and clear the air. Or I could turn it off and turn it back on again, hold my finger here and do a quick test. So why don't we do that? Power off. Go ahead and give them a power on. And now I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can pick that sound up, but I'm gonna hold my finger there while this thing boots up. So it thinks that the carriage is actually in the home position because I'm hitting that little limit switch with my finger. So what should happen here is if that limit switch is still good, we shouldn't get a printhead carriage position error on startup. Now hopefully this thing doesn't move and pinch my finger, but I don't think it will. All right, we're up. I'm gonna take my finger off and let's go and look at our faults. And it's gone. So carriage isn't moving. So this carriage didn't move at all. I've started it up a couple times. You saw a few. I held my finger there. It doesn't give me the error with my fingers there. So I know the micro switch is good, but for some reason this board is not telling the carriage to go home. So, I mean, let's rule everything out. Be putting a new board in this, but let's give it a shot. 32 millimeter printhead installed. I'm gonna move this printhead and carriage all the way over so it's away from that. I'm gonna power this on. And if it works properly, this thing should wanna go towards its home position. Like I said, we're kind of learning this together. I usually fix 6420s, 6530s. For some reason, it seems like the industry here, everybody tends to favor the 55 or 107 millimeters on these Videojets, but I'm getting more and more calls on these smaller guys. So we're starting to pick this line up as well. Have all the parts for it, but it's just not something I see that often. So, I mean, if adding a printhead fixes it, I'll be shocked, but I mean, I'll learn something new and so will you guys. And maybe you guys already know, you can yell at me in the comments. All right, I got power here. I'm gonna go back through our faults. And again, printhead carriage position here. No more messing around. Let's put a new board in here and start it back up. All right, we've got one screw here and one screw there. They kind of left some of the other ones off, so maybe somebody's dug in here before I have, but let's find out. So these are attached with a Phillips drive, which is not like the 6420s. Those are all either flathead or socket head cap screws, or in the case for one of the screws, the flathead. All right, looks like we've got 2 button heads holding this in place. Let's see if we can just, oh, well, yeah, maybe we don't need a new board. I'm gonna give you a close-up. See that? Something's not plugged in. Maybe I'm getting tested by this customer of mine. Maybe not, but let's do this. Before I do anything else, I'm putting this motor, because I suspect this is the motor that drives the printhead carriage. So we'll put that back in there. Let me check all my other connections. Everything else looks... Oh, no, another one's off too. Yep. All right, I'm gonna have to pull this top off to get at this one. So somebody was in here messing around, making my job a little bit more frustrating, but that's okay. See that? He's also not plugged in. That goes right here. Let's feed this back in here. This little air line comes out. All right, put these two button heads back in place. We're gonna throw the rear cover on it just so I can set it on its back again. And then we're gonna turn this thing on and we're gonna see if that was the culprit. Let's power this up. See if I was being tested. And if this thing passes, if it moves back to its home position, we'll throw it up on the stand, give it some air, and then run it with the new print head in there. See how the print looks. And then fix the cassette, add a button, add a latch, and hopefully everything else will be good. The mandrels look okay. They're missing one pin on it. Oh, you see that again? Oh, that's a good sign. Let's see what faults we have. Now remember, we put a new print head in there and we should not be getting carriage position error. Beautiful. We can work with that. We can work with that. So let's get this on here. We're going to use our nice 3D printed shim because this is a 6420, 6530 stand. And then we'll throw him up there and we'll give some test prints. Let's see what happens. All right, he's mounted now. I'm going to power him up. I got a ribbon loaded onto the cassette. And we'll throw this guy on once it's ready. And then I have the air line and then we're gonna look at it. We'll try to get some test prints, but first we gotta make sure it calibrates right, make sure there's nothing wrong with the cassette. Now the note that I did have on this one just said not printing. So it could have just been as simple as the print head was missing or they took it for something else, or it's a bad print head and nobody ever fixed it. We'll see. It could still be that maybe that main board is bad. Time will tell. All right, so yeah, we're still getting it. We're gonna do our little cheat. Grab that 4.5mm Allen key. We're gonna pull this out. The ribbon's not broken. We'll rotate everything so nothing's aligned. Okay, and then we're gonna take each one of these, turn them about a half a turn. And then we'll clear this. 1, 2. I heard both of them clip. Okay, so they both clipped in, but we're still getting ribbon break here. Okay, so we have a few things that could be causing this. Now, the fact that our customer's cassette is also possibly giving us problems has me a little concerned. So I'm gonna grab one of my cassettes that I know is good, throw that on there, eliminate the cassette. Once I know that it does it for the other cassette, then okay, it's probably not a cassette issue. Then we gotta talk about what is happening during calibration. Most of you already know this, but I'm gonna say it again. Okay, the ribbon motors are spinning and they're picking up tension readings. So we can reteach those tension readings by performing a motor calibration, which we'll do. And then if it's still failing, time to swap the board out, put a new board in there, see if that fixes it. So first, cassette. Get in your way a little bit, but I've got my good cassette in there. Let's clear this air. And same thing. All right, time to put the customer's cassette back on there, not put any ribbon. Let's do a motor calibration. All right, I got clarity config open. Gonna send the command to recalibrate the motors now. That's in the operations folder. Perform motor calibration. So this is gonna run for a few minutes like this. You should hear voices. And then if everything works right, we're not gonna have this ribbon break problem anymore. If it doesn't, it's time to swap that board out. So I'm gonna do my very best to save you guys as much money as possible, but sometimes all we can do is swap these components out. So this thing ran for about 30 seconds and abruptly stopped, which tells me I already knew it was gonna be on here, but, and I look at this, I've got a motor calibration error. So it's possible that one of the stepper motors needs to be replaced. I think it's unlikely. In most cases, it's the PCB. That's the old board. This is a little backup battery. I mentioned a little coin cell battery that would get replaced. But because I suspect there's a problem with this, they might not have to replace that after all, because they get a new battery with the new board that's on this one. All right, so I got a fault. Just cassette open. Good thing, let's throw our cassette back on there and see if we still get the ribbon break error. All right, so both mandrels are caught. It's going through the calibration process. This is much better than we saw, so definitely need a new board. It's got a new print head. Now the question is, what's that print gonna look like? I think it's gonna be perfect, right? Because the only thing that's left that we haven't changed would be the print head cable. So are they that unlucky that they're gonna need a print head cable too? Throw our film under here. Beautiful. If you guys found anything useful on this video, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm and all that stuff. Also, if you want to be part of these videos, please don't hesitate. Reach out, let us know. We'll fix your printer for you. We'll even give you a shout out in the video next time. If you have any questions, guys, reach out too.